All right, we're back. Okay. So, with all the griefers in the community, if do you think if they were gone, that would fix most of the community's issues, or do you think just getting rid of them would kind of make a new problem that would arise? So, if you were in charge of the community, how would you fix it? Yeah, no, definitely. And if you look at like the success of GTA, I mean, the only thing good for GTA, is the modern setting and, mainly the online private sessions. I mean, that leaves, like, if you don't want to deal with a griefer, you don't have to. And I think that if Red Dead were to add, like, invite only sessions or friends only sessions, some people wouldn't have to be, afraid to play Red Dead Online every day, because sometimes there are people that will just go after people. For example, like, say if there's a griefer coming after somebody and he can get into their session, because you can get into people's sessions sometimes just by just switching sessions. I don't know how stupid that sounds, but it can happen. And it would just fix, I mean, it would make a lot of things easier. It would make battalion events a lot easier because of the no griefing and all that. We could keep track of who's in session doing what easier. Not only that, but like you wouldn't have to worry about, oh, there's a random person joining on us. Who is it? And stuff like that. Just a lot of issues would be resolved from closed invite only sessions. Okay, I guess, do you have another question for me? Because if not, we can move on to your next question.
Not currently, Lord.
Okay. Uh, then my final, or, I might have more going down the road. You know how this works. But what's the main goal you have and want to achieve in the battalion? I mean, I know I can't remember exactly what you said your main intentions were when you signed up, but has that changed ever since you've joined and now you know what you're getting into? Or is your goal relatively the same? And if not, or if so, what do you really want to achieve? What do you really want to get to now? And when you say by help them, does that mean you want to give them just a fun time, or do you want to help them through things? So, can you elaborate on what you mean by what you want to do to help people? Back in the day, we used to have an enlisted. I'm not going to mention names out of respect to this person. I hear nowadays they're doing good, but he was being physically abused by his father, and his home life was not the greatest. There was also another enlisted that I could recall that at one point he was having so much death in his family that just was sad. And I mean, we get our fair share of enlisted that come through, and the ones that stick around, you know, everybody has everything, but everybody has their own stuff and issues and stuff. But when they come to their peers or the Marines leadership or whatever, and they tell them about their problems. I mean, that is why we are here. We're not asking you guys. We're not asking for people to see us as a power of authority or like someone that's gonna kick down your door. But mainly, we're here to mentor. And Crips, you had to ruin it, Crips. Shut up. We're here to mentor, and we're here to help as well. Many, not many, but a fair share of enlisted have come to not only me, but other NCOs or officers for help. And it really is sad when you learn the personal life sometimes of what somebody's going through. And it's just, I mean, I'm glad that they say something, but at the same time, it is sad that things like, bad things happen to good people. And the saying, the good die young, but it's just bad things happen to good people for no reason. And I feel like the people that I've met sometimes go through something that not even someone their age should have to go through. And again, I'm not going to go into very deep stuff about it out of respect for them, but it is sad. I guess that about covers it. Do you have any questions for me at all? Anything?
Like,
Well, I mean,
how
what's something you want to know about me or the group or the roots of the group or anything, really? Okay. Yeah, I guess that's a good question. When it first started, it actually wasn't even called the 1st Marine Battalion. We were a small little group called the 27th West Elizabeth Volunteer Infantry Regiment. It was a Civil War based infantry group that was ran by me and a few others that are still actually here in the battalion. Shout out to Gunnery Sergeant Rex. Still has his name on Discord named the 27th Rex. If you look at his Discord, that is a reference to the old 27th. And he absolutely, at least from what I remember, loved the 27th because it was something different from Red Dead. I mean, everybody's done Spanish American War crews, but no one's ever done like a Civil War Union group that we did. And it was good for a while, and eventually it came to the point where I realized and I said, there's not much we can do Civil War wise on Red Dead, so we're gonna have to switch to the Marines. Or no, I just said we're gonna have to switch to something Spanish American War. So we went through the list and we saw how there were infantry groups already started around. So we're like, okay, we're not gonna do that because we want to do something different that sticks out. And then we saw how there are already cavalry units out there and they're big and they're popular and they're like, well, we can't do that. And then we thought, well, gee, what else is there to do? So I talked to a friend and I said, hey, I'm thinking of changing to a different thing. I want to do something Spanish American War. And he said, well, you could do Marines. I said, really? I'd never thought about that. So I did some research, and if I can find, I mean, I'll put the photos in the video if I can find the early draft of the uniform, and if not, I will send photos. I'll try to recreate it as best as I can and put it in the video of what the early draft of the uniform looked like. And I was like, man, I cannot see this as a good uniform. So I asked that same guy, I said, hey, can you help me with the uniform? And what me and you are wearing right now, he did not send me that photo, but the chaps were darker. The neckwear was purple, and the suspenders were not there. And I'm pretty sure the shirt was different, and he was wearing the hat of a lance corporal. So that was the birth of the second design of the Marine uniform. I tweaked it around and made the masterpiece that now we all wear. Um, After that, the group stayed around for a good while. The Marines have always had this tradition of just leaving the community for like a hot 5 or 3 months and then coming back. And each time they come back, it's just a lot better. But as far as the roots of the Marines goes, for us, that is kind of where it goes to. Um, do you have any other questions? You know, anything like another question like how did this happen, or why is this a thing in the group, or anything like that? All right, well, stand up with me. Turn my radar off. I think that about does it for the fireside chat. So if you want to just say your name, rank, whatever, and you can just say goodbye and head back to where I told you to stand. This is just, out of context so we can get our ending straight. So you're just going to head back over there. You're just going to say goodbye, and I'm just going to turn around, smoke a cigarette, and that'll be the end of the episode, all right?
Alright, well,
Hold on. Shut up, Crips. Shut up, fucker. I was about to start talking too. Well, I mean, that seems to be all of the things I wanted to talk about, and I'm pretty sure you have no questions for me either. So I'd like to thank Lance Corporal Berger for taking the time out of his day to come and talk. Thank you very much. Yep.
alright.
All right.